All right, today we're going to break down a story that is just completely terrifying. It's about a single night in the fictional city of Mayapur, a night when it was literally besieged by supernatural forces. We're going to get into the coordinated attack, the what seemed like a victory, and the horrifying evolution of evil that came after. So let's dive right into the night Mayapur became a gateway to hell. You have to understand, Mayapur was supposed to be this perfect place, this beacon of peace and happiness. But as this quote suggests, that all came crashing down in just a few hours. This isn't just a story about a few monsters. It's about how an ordinary city became a literal doorway to another much darker world. So, the nightmare kicks off at exactly midnight. And this wasn't some random haunting, a single ghost in an old house. No. This was a calculated, citywide invasion, a multi-front supernatural attack that was unleashed all at once, hitting every part of society. So the first attack, it hit somewhere really modern, really personal. Inside a sleek, high-rise apartment building, an IT guy gets trapped in an elevator. And what's with him? A formless shadow, but with these piercing, yellow eyes. It didn't break the elevator. It trapped him with pure terror, whispering that it wanted his soul for the ride up. Meanwhile, across town, Inspector Raghunath runs into a blue-skinned witch on an old cemetery road. He does what you'd expect a cop to do. He pulls his gun and opens fire. But the bullets just pass right through her. And that's when we learn a critical rule for this night. Normal weapons are completely useless. She just laughed at him, saying his iron bullets were nothing to the Queen of Spirits. And it didn't stop there. The horror spread to, of all places, a hospital. Down in the morgue, the dead just got up. And we're not talking about slow, shambling zombies here. These were relentless, decaying monsters that just overwhelmed the staff, turning those clean, sterile hallways into a total nightmare. And just to make it crystal clear that nobody was safe, the attack even hit the mayor's mansion. Vampires literally stepped out of the paintings on the walls. And in the moment of pure horror, the mayor's own daughter was dragged through the solid wooden floor by her own shadow, which had twisted into some kind of demon. The very laws of reality were just breaking apart. Okay, so you've got chaos and death everywhere. It looks like the city's done for. All hope is lost. But right then, a new figure steps out of the chaos. Professor Edvot. And he understood something crucial. This wasn't a physical fight. It was a spiritual one. So how does he fight back? Not with guns, but with faith, with ancient rituals. First, he blows this sacred conch shell, and the holy sound of Om just washes over the entire city, making the demons stumble. Then, he rallies the survivors, getting them to chant together, to focus all their belief into a single weapon of willpower. He tells them, these things feed on our fear. We have to send them back where they came from. And the result? It was incredible. This blindingly brilliant white light just erupts from the middle of the city. The demons are instantly incinerated. The witch melts into a puddle of goo. That shadow demon from the elevator dissolves into smoke. As dawn breaks, the city goes quiet. And for a moment, it looks like they've actually won. The nightmare is over. But here's the thing about this story. That victory, it was all a lie. The morning light didn't bring relief. It revealed a new horror, something far worse than the battle they thought they'd just won. The creatures hadn't been beaten. They had just changed. And that's the question that just hangs in the air over Mayapur. I mean, you can imagine the scene, right? The sun's coming up. The streets are littered with this strange, dark ash left by the monsters. People are feeling relieved. But Professor Advait, he senses something is deeply wrong. And that's when the professor, looking at what everyone thought was ash, says this one chilling line that changes everything. See, that holy light hadn't destroyed the monsters. It had just forced them to adapt, to plant seeds for a second, much more terrifying invasion. These eggs hatch into something the story calls Raktkit, or bloodworms. And this is a total game changer. The threat isn't just supernatural anymore, it's biological, it's parasitic. They don't attack you from the outside. They invade you, corrupt you from within, and turn innocent people into vessels for something new. Yeah, this wasn't just round 2. This was an upgrade, a terrifying one. The monsters that hatched from these people weren't just reborn, they were evolved. They were smarter, deadlier, and perfectly designed to thrive in our world. Hell had learned from its first attempt. Just look at the difference here. Those slow, clumsy zombies from the hospital, now they're these massive, flesh giants with wings made of bone. The roadside witch, she came back, but now she's 3 times bigger and dripping of venom that melts concrete. And those shadow demons? Forget seeing them. Now they're completely invisible phantoms. And they're smart, too. They actually change the battlefield. They flood the entire city with this thick blue fog. And inside this fog, those invisible phantoms start hunting down the last of the police. Not by sight, not by sound, but by locking onto the frantic beat of their hearts. It wasn't a fight anymore. It was a slaughter. Professor Oddvice sees all this, and he knows. He knows no prayer, no mantra, no weapon on Earth is going to stop this evolved army. He's got one last play, but it's forbidden. It's a desperate last resort that was hidden deep beneath the city for a reason. It's called the Shunya Yantra, the Void device. And this thing is, well, it's the nuclear option. It doesn't just push evil back or close a gate. It is designed to completely erase the infected reality, the entire dimension, from existence. But the cost? Oh, the cost is astronomical. It needs a human soul to power it, and that soul becomes its warden, forever. And someone actually steps up, a man named Vikram. He volunteers. He understands what it means. To save his city, to save everyone, he has to give up not just his life, but his soul, to become the eternal jailer of a locked gate to nothingness. So as these evolved monsters are crashing into the ancient temple, Vikram bonds with the device and activates it. And there's no big explosion, no huge boom, just a quiet, peaceful, final light that spreads outwards. And it just unmakes them. The flesh giants, the giantess, the phantoms, they're just erased. The gate isn't just closed, it's gone. So the city is saved. Vikram's incredible sacrifice bought them peace. But the story doesn't quite end there. It leaves us with this really unsettling final thought, a question that kind of sticks with you long after the monsters are gone. Professor Adwaite's final words basically reframe the whole story. He warns them that the real gateway to hell wasn't some physical portal under the city. The real weakness, the real source of the horror, was something much closer to home. He says these cracks, they can always open again. And that's the real kicker, isn't it? The story of Mayapur suggests that maybe the biggest monsters don't always come from some other dimension. Maybe they're just waiting for the right cracks of hatred and fear to seep through from inside ourselves. An unsettling thought to end on.